So let's add the Virgin Islanders, living, that's awesome. Let's think about, that was my mom. Let's think about the Virgin Islanders. Actually, hold up. Mommy, I'm at the screening right now at the Q&A. You want to tell everybody hi? What you doing? We here right now. Say Mom hello. There you go. Mom, we gonna call you back. You a rock star. I'm gonna call you back. Love you. I'm Peter Bailey, and on this spring evening, I was joined by Crucian elected officials, civic leaders, and fellow creatives inside Caribbean cinemas at my intimate advanced screening of Paradise Discovered, the Unbreakable Virgin Islanders 2.0, the sequel to a film series that showcases our island nation's resilience and innovation. An event connecting our stories, fueled by my very own special brew. I am a storyteller. I am not pro anyone. I don't try to get too political. I just tell a story, you know? Yes, sir.
So yeah, first want to say I think that I really appreciate putting IT Park and economic development in there.
Thank you.
I think that you seeing that is really, really helpful because just knowing that there are actually people here actively trying to help them would
Yes.
be, I think, a good step for people.
Yes.
As someone who like studies stories, I do want to caution we have a narrative that we like to push about King John, that it was the first rebellion in the Western Hemisphere. Cinco de Mayo just passed yesterday, Gaspar Yanga. He was a man who led a rebellion in Mexico way back.
That's a good point. But I don't, to be fair to you, I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of these dates and stories of revolutions are romanticized to some degree, but we don't even know if that guy was the first, right? But at least the story is being told.
I think the main part that I want to think is like that was not a revolution because the Amena people took over the island and it continued to enslave the other Africans on the island.
But what about, I've heard that narrative before, my man, but why, think about this. I'll be devil's advocate, then I'll move on. Just think about this and process it. How convenient that these guys defied what they defied and all of a sudden they're demonized? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's beautiful to sit in a movie theater where I usually see movies that are created on the mainland about fantastic things and get to sit in a movie theater and hear voices that sound like mine, see people I know, see names that I know, friends, and hear us talk about the challenges, but not stay in the challenge. And I think your story, you're a weaver. You stitch together the land and the people, and the whole concept of hurricane is an upheaval of the land. It's a change, and it's an intentional destructive force, but it's also a building force. Hurricanes stir up the ocean, they bring nutrients, they do a lot of good things naturally, but they also create a lot of havoc for the way we live. And I think what was really beautiful about your narrative is that you didn't have a point of view.
No, I don't.
Or at least you said that. And you were pushing the audience towards a way of thinking, which is creativity, which is however we choose to define that. So thank you for your example.
Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful cup of coffee.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we get to buy the cup of coffee?
Peter's Nightcap, petersnightcap.coffee.
Okay.
Peter's Nightcap.coffee. Thank you for saying that because a big part of my whole life, I'm a 6'8" black man, right? In America. So my whole life is a testament of disruption. My whole life story is a testament of not being what you tell me I'm going to be. So my whole life is revolution, is defiance. And I don't like victimhood. I think every time we're in a narrative, people of color, we're always under trauma. And somebody has to come save us. I think in my narratives, we are villains and we are the heroes, right? I think we are self-contained in our narrative. And I think when we think about the Virgin Islands, we are an experiment. We are a hybrid. We're territory in 2025. So we get to define what we want to define. I was at the University of Delaware speaking at the Body Institute, and I said something. I tend to reject Americans' ideas of democracy to some degree. I find it very hypocritical. We can't vote still. So until they give us the right to vote, I am going to reject their concept of democracy. So in our narrative in the Virgin Islands, yeah, we get to write our story because it is undefined. There's no rules. They don't have rules for us, so we're going to write our story.
Why did you
re-edited. Like it's the 2.0. I haven't watched the first one. So like, what made you make this a 2.0? Maybe like
Continuing? Continue movie? Because that's life, you know? I don't have all the answers. Hell, life is forever changing. The stories continue. If I pretend to know the answers, then I'm doing you an injustice. The first film, if you saw it, I don't know if you saw it, but it was about resilience. It was filmed right in distress. So there was no time to process and think about innovation and our history. It was just capturing the moment of what we achieved in St. Thomas and St. Paul. So it was just that movie is totally different film. So after that film, I said, And as an artist, I work in threes. I work out, I lift weights in 3 sets. It's a quirk. I must do everything in threes. It's a trilogy. Everything I do is in threes. But the second film was, okay, I kept asking, man, how the hell did we end up in this mess? Like, why didn't we have food? Why was our banking system gone? Why, like, there was no food on the island? Look, on St. Thomas, there was no food. Okay, there was literally no warehouses with food. There was nothing to eat. We were literally in different neighborhoods getting canned food and rationing it out. This is a U.S. territory. That is not acceptable. Do I have the answer of where we're going from here? No. But we have to ask these questions. I think for very long, the Caribbean region, our leaders have existed without thinking about the future. No one planned for the future. I'm going to say this one. How do we have a whole island there's no warehouses of food? So this second film, yes, it challenges lawmakers, whoever calls it, the leaders, to how are we going to create a society that's self-sustained like adults and not kids? Yes, George, and then you know. And George is a talented filmmaker himself, so applause for George. And Kevin and Nicole Kenny Gator is a very good photographer. We have a bunch of creatives in the room. A lot of great creatives in the room. Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Wonderful.
Thank you.
When it comes to like the documentary, like is it when you had your idea of pre-production, or did the story kind of come together?
Somebody said, was an agenda? If an artist, if you write something, yeah, you have your opinions, right? Subjectivity in art is a question, but no, I let the story tell itself. All of my work asks a question. I'm very inquisitive. And that was the question. How did this happen and why did it happen? And is anybody thinking of ways it doesn't happen again? That was the question I sought to answer. That's it. I think right now one of the biggest issues in the verse now is food insecurity. And that kept coming up in the narrative. And that's why Summer's piece was in this. And that's why the aquaponics farm. So the question is asked and then the answers sort of answer itself. That's what we're doing in the Caribbean for years. We've just been living for day to day, and we have a new world order. We got a new set of leaders that's saying, no, we need some checks and balances, what's going on now. And I think we're at a moment of reckoning in these Caribbean isles. We're very much a moment of reckoning where we can't live day to day anymore. Question? Yes, ma'am. Art is supposed to make you feel something. Everyone in here has the power to do whatever we want to do. Everyone in this room has the power to change the narrative.
I saw in your mom's words, right, about not bringing what's happening in America. Yeah. I know you kept her for life. You kept that.
That's mine. Yeah, that's the elder.
But I connected it to Civic policy. You asked Civic Paul about these devices and these apps and how we can get paid for this. I'm thinking about what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
All these killings, the violence. Those apps, those phones create a lot.
They fuel it. They fuel it. You see, anybody that you meet, especially these politicians, that they have the answer for everything, they're selling you something. You know, anybody that has an answer for everything, has the right words for everything, they're just selling you. Yes, ma'am. No, you need to raise your hand. You're a student, right? Where's the students in the room?
Are you going to continue making your work related to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and you're going to continue to do a representation of it? And how are you planning to bring that public and that view into the islands in the first place? Because one thing is talking about it, but making people listen and see with their own eyes what the U.S. Virgin Islands has to offer.
Yeah. Well, I went I've been on tour for the past 2 years of my life with the first film. Actually, the first film is being taught at Stanford. It's being used in classes at Stanford. It's being used in classes at Notre Dame University, College of William and Mary. So one of the proudest things of my existence with these films, they're all being taught at colleges. Like the first film is actually being taught at school. So, and it's in libraries. Actually, I've been invited to Singapore because they're very fascinated with the film. And I've been for years trying to get our leaders here to look at Singapore, some of the blueprints of their educational standards. So they finally invited me over there to basically discuss how we can apply some of the educational methods here. Singapore is a small place, natural resources are non-existent, but for somehow, they're just very successful, and it's all rooted in education. I think I saw another hand up. Yes, ma'am. I know. What do you need to do for them? Write to your favorite politician, cut them a check. No, what you need to do for them is support their work. Once again, after the first storm, I remember Virgin Islands was very mad. Oh, we're not getting any press coverage. Puerto Rico's getting all the coverage. You know why? Every Puerto Rican I know was on Instagram, on Twitter. Y'all need to come. Boo, boo, boo. We weren't doing that. We devalue our power in these islands.
And so what I'm saying is that we also have to uplift the conversation when it comes to documentation, because the technology is there. And sometimes if you're doing guerrilla filmmaking, you have to make them invest.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask you one thing really quickly. Could you thank your mom?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I will.
That point that she made toward the end of the movie is something that I think a lot of us are thinking about. We have to educate the people who are coming here to understand the culture.
These islands are rooted in revolution and defiance.
These islands are rooted in
That's true. That's true. Exactly.
Because of respect and love for it.
You want to ask a question? I know. I know you do. See? How I know?
It kind of got answered already for the most part.
Gotcha.
So it was very much kind of connected to the intentionality of us being unified in a way, and very much the tone that this film has in inspiring and uplifting, but not really wanting to spoon feed you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Hearing these stories and doing this film, how do you think that we should approach trying to complement that togetherness now as we move forward?
And Kevin, that's exactly why I made this one. I'm a Virgin Islander. I know my people. We like to fight. If it's St. Croix versus Thomas, whatever. But I want to make sure that this was forever captured. So when we get back to what, like you just said, we're doing, we can watch this and remember. So when, like you said, the divisiveness raises its ugly head again. No, that's not who we are. This is who we are. But hold up. Every screening, I gotta take a big old cool picture, actually a video. Hold up. Let me see. Unbreakable screening 2.0 St. Croix.